Today we're going to be taking a look at the PC performance for Sniper Elite 4, which is available now at the time me making this video, February 14th, 2017. If you do want to see a full game review for Sniper Elite 4 for the gameplay and everything like that, I'll go ahead and link over to Angry Centaur Gaming. He's pretty much my go-to source for game reviews, extremely in-depth and unbiased and all that. So if you guys need a good source for game reviews, I would certainly recommend you go check out Carrick at Angry Centaur Gaming. I'll leave a link down to his review of Sniper Elite 4 down in the description below for any of you that are on the fence about picking this game up, because we're going to be focusing only on the PC performance here, so hopefully we can put those questions to rest if you are thinking about picking up this game. So we're going to start off in the graphics options, where we can see that we do have a resolution slider. We can go all the way from 50 up to 200% here on the resolution slider, but I was running at just 100%. We tested at 1080, 1440p, and 4K, depending on the graphics card that we were using. And we do have graphics presets here. We can go ultra, high, medium, or low, and you can also go ahead and customize those if you want to. So I was using a custom one, which was basically ultra, but with motion blur turned off. So you can see everything else in here. This is how I was running all of our benchmarks here, with texture detail, shadow detail, reflection detail, anti-aliasing, which we don't know exactly which form of anti-aliasing this is. They don't explain it to us, even though we've got a brief descriptor on the right side here. I'm not sure which exact form of AA that Sniper Elite 4 is using here, but we ran it up at high. We've also got draw distance, anisotropic filtering. The motion blur option, like I said, did turn that off for all of our testing. And we've got ambient occlusion, tessellation, and obscurance fields. And this game does actually also support DirectX 12. If you want, you can enable it from the splash screen before the game loads up, and you can even toggle off the async compute option if you want to go ahead and use that. And I did do some testing that you'll be seeing here in a few minutes with DirectX 11 versus DirectX 12, so we can kind of see the performance differences when switching between the two APIs. Now, even though I usually do all of my testing in-game for these types of videos, I wish that Rebellion had included a benchmark for Sniper Elite 4, only because they included one in Sniper Elite V2 as well as Sniper Elite 3. So it was kind of odd that there wasn't a benchmark built into the game at release. Really wish they had, but unfortunately we don't have that here to show you guys any footage of the benchmark. So I did do my testing in the shooting range area so that I can remain consistent when testing between the different graphics card resolutions, APIs, and all of that. And I was okay testing in the shooting range because from what I saw, it was matching up pretty consistently with what I was seeing outside in the main portion of the game. I didn't see too much of a performance difference, and there's a lot of object details and stuff like that in the shooting range anyway. So like I said, it's pretty comparable to what you'll see in the actual main campaign here. So we started off testing with the GTX 1080 at 1440p, where we got an average of 102 FPS and a minimum of 80, while testing at 4K, we got an average of 54 and a minimum of 43. Now, that was testing at DirectX 11 with all of the graphics options that I had showed you guys previously. So certainly capable of managing this game at 1440p, over 100 FPS here on the averages, minimum of 80, while it did struggle just a bit at 4K, coming down below 60 with a minimum of 43 and the average of 54. So struggling a bit at 4K. If you wanted to run this at that higher resolution, maybe you can drop down the resolution slider just a little bit, or maybe tweak down a couple of options so you can get the game running at a smooth 60 frames. And I did test at DirectX 12 with the GTX 1080 initially, where I had saw a performance drop actually, pretty unfortunate, a really big performance drop here when testing at 1440p. I saw an average of 88 FPS and a minimum of 63, comparing that to the 102 and the minimum of 80 when testing at DX11 there. So we saw an average drop of 14 FPS in the averages and 17 in the minimum. So it looks like Nvidia is not doing too great when it comes to the DirectX 12 optimization on this game. Next up, we've got the GTX 1060. Once again, this is DX11, where we got an average of 80 FPS and a minimum of 61 when testing at 1080p. And at 1440p, we got an average of 56 FPS and a minimum of 44. So certainly able to power the game at 1080, struggling a bit at 1440p. You may want to choose to run this game at like the high preset for 1440p if you're running something like a GTX 1060 or the RX 480, as you guys will see here now on your screen. The RX 480, we did get an average of 76 FPS and a minimum of 59 when testing at 1080p, so falling behind the GTX 1060 there in that head-to-head matchup. While at 1440p, once again falling behind the Nvidia card, we see an average of 53 FPS and a minimum of 43. So it appears right now that this game is running a little bit better on the Nvidia cards, at least when testing between the 1060 and the RX 480. Only time will tell how much better it gets, as drivers become introduced and they get patches and stuff from Rebellion. I did also choose to test DirectX 12 on the RX 480 because I saw the performance drop on the GTX 1080, so I figured it would be consistent with the 1060, but I wanted to test on the AMD card because we know that AMD kind of handles async compute in DirectX 12 just a bit different from Nvidia, but unfortunately we saw performance degradation there as well, although not as much on the Nvidia side. So the RX 480 I tested in DX12 at 1080p, where I got an average of 73 FPS and a minimum of 58. So comparing that to DX11, we only saw a drop of 3 FPS in the averages and 1 FPS in the minimum. So pretty close to DX11 performance, while Nvidia's side, like I said, they had a massive reduction in performance. It was 14 frames on the averages with the GTX 1080 when testing at 1440p. So I do hope that Rebellion maybe patches this game and improves the DirectX 12 on it, or AMD or Nvidia kind of optimize the drivers a little bit better for DX12. But I'm kind of skeptical on that because it feels like this is the same exact engine as Sniper Elite 3, so I really wasn't expecting DirectX 12 to kind of blow me away in terms of its performance, because it's just the same exact engine that they've been using for the past couple of games, and they just kind of updated it into a new environment, being that it's set in Italy now, so it's kind of just a natural progression of the franchise. They didn't do any gigantic leaps forward with Sniper Elite 4. If you enjoyed Sniper Elite 2, you enjoyed Sniper Elite 3, then you're probably going to enjoy Sniper Elite 4. Maybe you want to wait for a sale. I'm kind of in agreement with Angry Centaur Gaming that $60 is a little bit of a hefty price tag for these games because you can blow through them pretty darn quick. So once again, if you are thinking about picking this game up and you're kind of on the fence, I'm going to link to his review down in the description because he's just really in-depth and all that stuff. So let me know your thoughts and stuff down in the comments below. I'd appreciate to get your feedback on this. If you're picking up Sniper Elite 4, let me know. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe if you're not already. But I'll catch you guys next time. Turf.